The EPCHS, heard everywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the EPCHS.com.
Evergreen Park High School basketball coach Jim Sexton sitting down here at the 9-foot homemade oak bar to kick off this episode, which is brought to you by the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. Right now, you can get $500 on the First National Bank of Evergreen Park. First, get yourself a total access checking account, free ATMs nationwide, and after a couple of qualifying activities, you get $300 placed in there. Oh, and there's no overdraft charges. I have one of those, and then get the statement savings, another $200 put in a savings account, no required minimum to open it up. Couple of qualifying activities, not much. Open up a couple accounts, get $500. It's really easy. Stop in and get details at the corner of 95th and Pulaski in that big iconic building there. Your community bank, the First National Bank of Evergreen Park, member FDIC. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great, Chris. Thanks for having me again.
Hey, thanks for coming over. How's the team doing?
So far, so good. We're just getting ready. The playoff seedings just came out. We're the fourth seed in the Thornton sectional, so we're behind Thornton, who is really highly ranked, Brother Rice, and Marion Catholic. So we're the fourth seed in the regional. The sectional. We're hosting the regional at Evergreen Park, and that will be next Wednesday, the 21st of February. So a couple exciting things. We're 19-9 so far. Unfortunately, did not win the conference. We got one more conference game tomorrow night. Looks like we're 9-3 in conference. So we're going to finish a game or two behind Oak Lawn and Eisenhower. We're actually tied at the top. So that was a little disappointing, but overall, it's been a really good season. We've played a really tough schedule, and I think that that Thornton sectional is really tough. So to get the 4 seed was a pretty big thing, and a lot of good things going forward, and hopefully we can make a playoff run.
All right, so you got the playoffs looking ahead here. Break this down for me like I'm an idiot that doesn't know, because that's the truth. You got a regional. I only remember this from watching guys like you play basketball in high school, right? Like I watched you play for Rice, and I remember your run in my junior year. And you have the regional. I want to say it's 2 rounds to win a regional, right? It's like there's 4 teams in a region. Is that right?
Perfect, yep.
Okay, so then after you get through that, then you have a sectional, and there's 2 more rounds there, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if there's 4 rounds, that means what? In your section, there's 16 teams right now?
Correct, yep.
So you got 4 out of 16, which is pretty damn good.
Yeah, especially in the sectional we're in. Like I said, it's a pretty tough, like the seeds below us are Lamont, who is traditionally really good. Hillcrest is the 5, so we would actually have to beat Hillcrest at home Friday, if we are able to luckily enough to get through the first round, we would have to beat Hillcrest in the second round to get to Thornton. So, it's a really tough sectional, and to get the 4 seed was nice, and it's a tribute to what our guys have done all year.
What day does it kick off?
The 21st is the first round.
Okay,
we don't know yet who the first round opponent is. The seeds are out, but there's some shifting depending on because of who hosts the regionals. So Brother Rice hosts, we host, TF North hosts, and Marion Catholic hosts. So sometimes they shift depending on geographics. So they may shift a seed or here or 2 here or there. But more than likely, we'll play the 13th seed.
You're not going to look ahead. I know you. You want to win every game, but you've got your alma mater in your sectional. Right? I mean, there's Brother Rice is hosting right up the street. You're a mile away from each other down 99th Street. You went to school there. Your year's on a banner there from when you won a sectional championship, right? And they're in your thing. I mean, you probably have to win 2 games to get to them. They'd be the 3rd game in the thing if it all matched up, or would they be there at the end?
The way it looks now would be we'd have to win 3 to get to them because we're the 4 seed. Thornton would be the 1 seed, so we would have to beat Thornton to get to play Brother Rice at Thornton. So yeah. But yeah, it's so definitely
it's there,
well in grasp as far as if we can, play the way we've been playing. I mean, we've had I think we talked last time. We've had a lot of ups and downs with some injuries and illness throughout the season, but we're kind of firing on all cylinders right now. So we're definitely a dangerous team going into the playoffs. So it's nice to, it's awesome that the administration at Evergreen Park has allowed us to host the regional. So it's nice to have those first games at home, and then playing in a historic gym like Thornton in a section will be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think that's, first of all, that's really cool that you're hosting. I would say that if you're either you're an EP alum, you're an EP student, or you're just somebody that lives in the Evergreen Park area, get up and see these tournament games. I mean, you don't need to even have a rooting interest. Go see one of the games that Evergreen Park is not even in, that's in this regional, because these are really fun games. High school playoff basketball is fun. You know, like I exposed my kid to it. You know, my sophomore, who was a freshman last year, that was the first time he was exposed to it, really, was last year. I never really took him when he was younger to the games. And I'm like, hey, bud, you're going to the basketball game, right? And he's like, huh? And I'm like, this is the fun of this. Like, we're going. And I brought him, and it's like, you know, wall-to-wall people and the excitement and like, yeah, every shot, there's like everybody screaming on every shot, on every bucket, on every foul, the intensity of the entire thing. You know, you played in those games and you've coached in these games, right? Describe this for somebody who has not actually been to one yet, who may be like, holy cow, we got a regional going on right here in Evergreen Park.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Unfortunately, through the years, I mean, the internet is a great thing, but with streaming and different things, it's nice because you can sit in your basement and watch your alma mater, you know, especially for people that live out of town. But I think a lot of times, you know, in the last couple of years, the crowds have kind of went down. We're lucky at Evergreen to have a really good student section and a really good fan base. And you could say the same thing for Brother Rice down 99th Street. So we haven't been hit by that too much. But you go to some of these schools and you don't have that same type of atmosphere, like you said, like when I played and in a lot of the games I've coached. But yeah, you're on your, you know, edge of your seat every play, and especially in the exciting games, the fan sections are going back and forth versus each other. You have, like you said, just people from the neighborhood that like basketball and want to get out on a Friday night or a Tuesday night to see a fun game. And yeah, it's really cool atmosphere. And you know, I think, you know, the back and forth between the student sections is fun, and just people that want to see good basketball is you know, always a great atmosphere.
Does it still get vicious every once in a while, back and forth between the two student sections in these things? I mean, I remember the stuff that was getting said back and forth in the 90s, and I don't know if you can get away with that anymore, but I mean, it would get really vicious. What's it like in those games?
Yeah, definitely not.
And do you hear it? Yeah. Do you notice it while you're out there?
I don't. I mean, usually I'm pretty locked in as far as trying to do what we're doing. You know, maybe every once in a while you'll catch something here or there, but it's definitely not like the 90s as far as, like you said, the things that are said back and forth. You know, I think you know, student sections on both sides, whether it be, you know, our home fans or, you know, the opposing team, or even when we're on the road. It doesn't get as dramatic, but you know, it's still a good, more of a positive influence than sometimes back in the day there would be some negatives towards the other team. Do people do the thing still every once in a while where they all get their newspaper and they turn around, or they put it up in front of their face and ignore them when they come on the court? Does that still happen? I've seen that more in college lately, but not so much in high school. We haven't seen it in the last couple of years, but yeah, but you usually get the chance to, you know, back, you know, if our team is good in football, you know, we'll see you in basketball, or if it's vice versa, well, let's play football. You know, kind of the usual chants that have kind of, you know, been passed down through the years. But yeah, not as vicious as far as some of the personal stuff and things like that. But yeah, I think it's still a good atmosphere back and forth for most, especially the rivalry games, or like you said, playoffs. Let's
talk about your guys real quick. You know, you got your son on the team. I know he's a big player on that team. He's not just the coach's son. He's one of the stars. Who's been out in front for this team this year?
Yeah, like you said, he's a 4-year starter. He had some injuries earlier in the year and has kind of been dealing with that a little bit on and off all year. You know, but he's back full strength and he's playing well, and he's really a leader for us. And like I said, his experience as a varsity player for 4 years has really helped kind of guide some of our younger guys. You know, and Trey Dowdell, a transfer for us from Brother Rice, has been unfortunately injured for about half the season. But when he's there, we're just a different team. He's our leading scorer.
Is he there now?
Yeah, he's back.
Is he ready?
Yep.
Okay, that's good.
He's back. Yeah, he's played about the last week, and I think he's missed. We played 30 games. He's probably missed 12. So he's back full strength now. He's kind of got his conditioning back, and he's had some huge games. He hit two late free throws against Hillcrest. I think he had 23 points against Hillcrest last Friday. We beat Hillcrest by a point at Hillcrest, and I'm not really sure the last time Evergreen Park has beat Hillcrest in basketball, but so that was a huge win. And then he had a huge game against Lamont the other night. So like I said, we're kind of firing on all cylinders. Billy Buchanan, our one kind of big, has been our starting big, 6'4" kid, is really, played his butt off. He's been huge all year. He's probably averaging, I'd have to look at the rebounding stats, but definitely averaging a double-double, 11 points and 11 rebounds a game. And especially the last, 3-4 weeks, we've really leaned on him big time to, give us a presence inside. It's probably going to miss some guys here because we're really balanced. I think we have 4 or 5 guys that all average 10 points or more. So it's a balanced, balanced equation. Just those are just kind of the seniors. Ulysses Cardenas is our 3-point, big 3-point shooter. He had over 80 3-pointers last year. I'd have to look at the stats, but I think he's probably on pace, if not more, this year. He's a big, a leader for us as far as a senior too.
You've got a lot of shooters. So this is interesting to me because I watch high school basketball games in tournaments, and I watch, of course, I love March Madness. I watch that all the time. And you see these situations where they always come down to the end of the game. It happens so much. You've been there. You've seen it. Okay. Are you the kind of coach with those kind of shooters, okay, and guys that, as you said, a very well-balanced team? You're not relying on just one person. Are you the kind of coach where other team ties it up, there's only like 10, 15 seconds left, okay? Or the other team takes the lead, and you know that's it. You've got the ball at the end. They're going to have to do something. Are you calling timeout, or are you one of those guys that's like, I don't want them thinking about it. Let them go down and do their thing?
The latter. I'm definitely that. Perfect example was that Hillcrest game the other night. They scored on an inbounds play with about 11 seconds to go. They had called timeout to run the inbounds play. They scored to put them up 1, and in our huddle during their timeout, we said if they score, we're going right away. And the plan was actually just to get the ball in Trey's hands. He went down full court, got fouled with about 8 seconds to go, made both free throws. We stopped them and ended up winning the game. So yeah, and I've had the same experience, and I understand some coaches will do the opposite way, but my big thing is we always preach this. We want It's not the coaches, it's the players. The players are going to make the play. So sometimes if you call that timeout and you're kind of premature with it, you cut guys off from being able to make plays. So, we've had some times this year where we've had guys try to make plays at the end of the game and it didn't work. But that's, you stick with that philosophy. And if you're a timeout guy, you're a timeout guy. If you're not, you let the players play. And I think, for the most part, we come out on the good end of that.
If you're doing that, is it more of you looking at your guys, looking at their faces, looking at their mannerisms and trying to figure out, are they out of control? Do they need the break, right? Is that really all you're looking for in that situation? Like, oh man, that they look flustered, or they need this break right now. But if I see them just going and I see the determination in their face, I'm going to let them go.
Yeah, it's a really good point. You could see that, if there's trouble, if you have timeouts, it's nice to be able to use them if you're in trouble, like where they dribble themselves into a bad spot, or like you said, you can see maybe they're a little uncomfortable with the situation. But usually, especially if it's late in a game, like the situation you're talking about, is a team scores, they're kind of patting themselves on the back, or they're cheering, or they're happy for themselves. So if you can get it out of bounds, and we practice that a lot, where getting the ball out of the bounds quick and getting down, trying to score as quickly as possible when the defense isn't set. So if you're used to doing it and you practice it, I think a lot of times our guys are comfortable with it. But of course, if you notice that there's they're unsure, or especially if it's a situation where they get trapped or they're in a bad spot, then of course we'll use a timeout.
What do you do in a situation in the postseason tournament? Because I've seen this so many times, watching so many different levels of it. It's style of play. Every team is very different, right? If a style of play also matches up with, say, whoever's reffing the game at that point, right? Like you get a physical team, but the refs are letting them play, it could really change things for a team that doesn't get physical. Then on the other hand, a physical team could walk in and could have won 4 or 5 games leading up to that point. Now all of a sudden they're getting called for everything, and it changes the entire game. Is that something I'm sure you've seen a million times before and that you've experienced? Where do you make the adjustment? Do you change your style of play when you run into something like that, right away? Or is it one of those things where you're like, this is what we are, we just got to hope for the best?
A little bit of both. I think, you stick to what you do. And we, like you said, we shoot a lot of 3-pointers. We've definitely leaned on Billy around the basket a lot more lately. And that's been huge to be able to kind of do both inside and out. But yeah, I like to stick to what we do, but you're 100% right. Whether it be maybe an off shooting night, or a team that's just playing really good defense, or like you said, maybe a team's physical and we're not able to, get around them in a situation where we can get ourselves open, you definitely make adjustments. But I think that's one of the things that is, the second half of the season, especially as we've got more healthy, that's one of the things I've really been, and our coaching staff has been really proud of, is we kind of are a free-flowing, kind of more loosey-goosey, like up and down, freestyle offense. But I think our defense and our physicality as far as defensively and rebounding has really gotten a lot better, and it's helped us play, especially our last two games against Hillcrest and Lamont, who are really tough, physical, big teams, and we don't have a ton of size, but we were able to to beat both those teams on the road, especially just because I think our guys are starting to understand that, just because you run up and down and you play fast and you shoot a lot of three-pointers, you still can defend and you can be physical and you can rebound and box out. So that's been a big step our team's taken.
That's how I always saw you, Coach, as loosey-goosey and freeform. All right, Jim Sexton, he's the head coach. He's not exactly sure who's going to be the first-round opponent. They got to wait for that. Maybe by the time this episode comes out, they'll know it. But what I do know is that Evergreen Park is hosting the regionals. They're in a really interesting sectional. They're hitting their stride right as the playoffs begin, and they've got a healthy team, and they could make some noise. And they're a 4 seed, okay? So being able to host, being one of the top 4 seeds inside of their sectional, being healthy, being ready to go, and having this guy here who's got some postseason experience coaching them could be a very interesting next month or so here for Evergreen Park and the Mustangs. Good luck to you, Coach.
Thanks, Chris. I really appreciate it. Like you said, I would love to get as many fans out there as possible next, obviously our last couple home games, but the regional will be fun as well. So I always appreciate you having me.
Building relationships, supporting the community, and service. These are the things that Country Financial stands for. They're more than just an office you may pass by as you drive through Evergreen Park. They're neighbors who lend a helping hand and support the fabric of your community, including charitable organizations, sports, financial education, and civic organizations. And since Country is already your neighbor, they want to get together and chat. Call your local Country Financial representative, Mike Thauer, today at 708-425-1559 to talk about the things that are important to you and how he can help you protect them. Our next guests are bellying up to the bar right now as I speak, and they are using every bar stool. We'll get to them in a moment. First, your EP podcast, Word on the Street, brought to you by Spoken Vine, wine bar and bottle shop, northeast corner of 95th and Kedzie. They have a wine for every palate, and they have wines from all over the world. A 21 and over establishment, perfect for date night. If you're doing Valentine's Day local, this may be the spot. Actually, I know it's the spot. And if you find something you like, you want to bring back home, get a little romantic, pick up a bottle at the wine shop on the way out the door. 21 and over establishment. See more at SpokenVineWines.com. Mayor Kelly Burke is having coffee with you, 9 a.m. until 10 a.m. at the Community Center on February the 24th. She's going to be available to discuss any issue you want to talk to her about. She's also going to be at the upcoming village board meeting because she's at all of those. In fact, Mark Marzullo, one of the village trustees, got in depth about what happens at those board meetings on our last episode. Check it out on demand, anywhere podcasts can be found, and always at the EPCHS.com after this episode. The next board meeting, February 19th, 6:30 p.m., second floor, Village Hall. The Office of Citizen Services and AARP are doing income tax preparation for Evergreen Park seniors. There are no walk-in appointments, so you gotta make an appointment by phone, 708-422-8776. And also, the senior luncheon this month is on February the 15th, couple days away, 11 a.m. with Swedish meatballs on the menu. There's going to be entertainment, and tickets are only $10. Get them at the Community Center at 3450 West 97th Street. Preschool registration is now open. Visit the Evergreen Park Rec Department. Little Mustangs basketball is also open as well. Boys and Girls Instructional Basketball League. Our guest that was just on, Jim Sexton, running that thing. along with JV head coach Pat Hogan and some varsity players focusing on skills and drills and the fundamentals of basketball for 2 weeks. And then you get 4 weeks of team practice and games. It kicks off on February 18th, runs till nearly the end of March over at the EPCHS Sports Complex at 2700 West 91st Street. It's only $65, and all you got to do is bring a basketball and a water bottle. Any questions, 708-229-3373. And our guests now here at the back end of the EP podcast are brought to you by SidSauce.net, local Evergreen Park couple that opened up a hot sauce business where they grow the peppers in backyards all around Evergreen Park. Then they make these hot sauces and they deliver them to your door. It's the only place I get my hot sauce. They have so many different kinds. They're all really good. See more at SidSauce.net. Joining us as well here down at the 9-Foot Homemade Oak Bar this week, we just had Jim Sexton, the coach of the basketball team for Evergreen Park, on the program. And now we've got 4 students that are part of a massive production, huge play, biggest thing to hit the South Side in years, right? That's what we're going to say here. It's pretty much Macbeth and then this play, and it's going to be at that level is what it's going to basically be. We have 4 of the principal students in a play over at Evergreen Park coming up this weekend. Guys, seeing as how I'm bad with names and there's 4 of you, why don't you just go around and introduce yourselves, everybody?
Okay, well, I guess we're going to start with me. Hi, I'm Gabby.
Use your last name. Your parents want to hear.
Okay, sorry, I'm Gabby McKinney.
There you go. They want to be proud of you. All right.
I'm Michael Shannon.
Hi, Michael.
I'm Dylan Shihelski.
I'm Matthew Dover.
All right, yeah, Dylan, I would have never gotten your last name. I would have taken like 5 times.
It's Polish.
Polish.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Okay, there we go. All right, so big thing. What's the name of the play?
It's called Something Rotten.
Okay, and what is it about?
Basically, the musical is set in the Renaissance period. It's to give a short synopsis. It's based around these 2 brothers from Cornwall. That's where they grew up. They're basically trying to just make something with their writing. They have a lot to write about. They want to reach out to their people.
Are they trying to write a play? Or are they trying to write a book? What are they trying to do?
Originally, I'm not sure. The brothers are actually sitting right here.
Okay, what are you guys trying to do?
I'm trying my hardest to direct a theatrical production. My brother is the writer. Right. Dylan right here is the writer of the play. But I eventually, through some divination, find out that I should do a play with songs and call it a musical. Okay.
So then a musical comes along, which means you're going to have musical numbers. So there's going to be singing in this performance.
Yes,
okay.
A lot.
Does everybody here sing? Are all of you?
Yes,
you're all singers.
Absolutely.
You all get out there. Is anybody doing a solo? Anybody out there just by themselves? No.
All 4 of us.
All 4 of you are doing solos.
Well, I mean, by ourselves on stage.
Yeah, by yourself on stage. You're on stage. The spotlight's on you. You're holding the whole crowd.
I have a song called "To Thine Own Self."
Okay.
And then that would be me, who's really the one that has only that.
Is that nerve-wracking?
We'll see.
Yeah, have you ever done it before?
Yeah, I've done it before.
Okay, well, you'll be fine.
I did that my freshman year, but it's been a while since I think I've been the only one on stage. From what I remember, I could be wrong, but I think I'll handle it well. It's a short little thing, and it's fun.
All right, so you have this performance, you have this play, you have these songs. Is there anything else? Tap dancing by any chance?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of tap dancing.
There's tap dancing. Now, are you all accomplished tap dancers? Did you have to learn for the performance?
Accomplished is a very strong word.
My mom made me take it for a year when I was a little kid. I've only seen pictures of it. I barely remember it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it if you paid me to. But I mean, it'd have to be something you really have to kind of pick up a skill to be able to do that. So is this something you trained for just for this play?
Me personally, I grew up dancing.
Okay.
I always did a lot of different forms of dancing. I did hip hop, I did majorette, I did contemporary. Tap dancing was not one of them.
Yeah.
That was not one of them. So I did learn how to tap dance. It's been maybe 2 years. And in this song in particular, in my song, a musical, Mrs. Kazin was like, "You're going to tap dance." And it had been about 5 months since
Right.
I had put on a pair of tap shoes, and I was like, what?
But you at least had tap shoes. Like, you had done it before, right?
Yeah.
It'd be weirder if she was like, you're going to tap dance. You'd be like, I'm going to what? I've never done that before, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was very, very nervous. When she gave it to me, I looked at her like, she was faced away from me, and the looks that I was giving her, I was like, oh my God, this lady thinks that I don't.
You just mentioned to me, like, well, I've done all this dance and I've been doing it for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And that's something I think that, like, I think everybody comes at different levels, especially I would imagine at your level right now at Evergreen Park High School. Like, you have some people that like get into musicals their freshman year for the first time that they start doing it. And you have some kids that have been doing it for years and years and years when they're doing it. And you know, you start to see some of these plays at a high school level and they're really good. You know, because you have kids that have been training and doing it for a long time. So you've been dancing for a long time. Anybody here have been doing something for a very long time that led you to this point?
Well, I've been acting for a long time, but I'm the opposite of Gabby in this situation. I have never tapped before.
And you had to learn.
I had to learn a lot. So I have a tap battle with one of my peers.
I'm sorry, you've never tap danced before and you have a tap battle.
That is correct.
On stage.
On stage.
Wow.
Yes. It was...
This kid's got a solo and a tap battle. Man, I'm rooting for you. Good luck.
But yeah, it was, Mrs. Kazan was like, you're going to tap, and I was on the verge of tears. But as I went along...
Mrs. Kazan sounds so mean. How she makes you guys do
No,
this.
She's the most amazing person we know.
She is the sweetest lady ever. But, you know, as I got to do it more and more, it's gotten easier. I'm still not completely without 2 left feet, but I'm getting there. And it's been fun to learn it, and it's been fun to expand my horizons, and I'm glad that I'm doing it, and it's great that I'm getting better and better at it each time. But yeah, it's been something.
That's awesome. So you didn't touch on it, but I remember you mentioning it when you guys first walked in here, and I wanted to make sure that the listeners heard it. The idea that in this musical, there's a lot of other musicals that are in here. So are you pulling songs from certain musicals into this one? Are you pulling styles? Explain that to people and what they're going to hear and what they're going to see that's on stage that they would be familiar with.
So funny enough, majority of the musical references come from the song A Musical.
Okay.
There are so many ranges of musicals for people who have never seen a musical before may know. There's references from Annie, there's references from A Chorus Line, there's references from Lion King, there's references from Mary Poppins, just so many. There's a point in time where chimney sweeps come on stage, and you know where like there's a fiddler there's a fiddler
on a roof.
Yeah, there's a fiddler joke in there.
Right.
It's there's a lot of different references, and you have to really listen to hear them. You got to be you got to watch intently. There are some musicals that people have never heard of. There are some plays that people have never heard of. I know for a fact, like when I was singing it, I didn't know what I was really singing about. I was like, I knew some of the easy ones, but then I was like, oh, what is this?
Do you become fans? Are you fans of theater? Like if I went around the horn right now and said like, what's your favorite musical or play that like, you know, would you be able to come up with one right off the top of your head?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go around. What do we got?
My favorite musical right now is probably Big Fish.
Big Fish. Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, copier.
Same answer.
First time you talked the entire interview, and she stole it.
Yeah. So my answer.
Sorry.
Dylan, what do you got?
Oh, I would have to say that mine would be Heather's.
Heather's, okay.
Yes.
See, it's interesting for me because I love doing theater, but I'm a complete faker. Like, I never listen to, like, musicals on my own. I've always liked, what's it called? Be More Chill. Be More Chill is really good. Maybe not the whole thing, but I like to select stuff from it.
At least all 4 of you didn't go Hamilton. You know, like you didn't go with like the first one. I mean, it's fun. I went and I saw it. I actually just went and saw it in the last couple of months, and it was fun. But I mean, like at least you didn't go with that. I'll go with Phantom of the Opera. That was always my favorite one. I love that one.
Okay.
All right,
There's a Phantom reference.
So before I let you go, when is this? I know it's coming up this weekend. What nights? Is it Friday, Saturday? Like, how do people get tickets? Run it all down.
The tickets are sold online.
Okay.
For Friday and Saturday, the shows are at 7, the 16th and 17th. And on Sunday, the 18th, the show will be at 2 o'clock. And tickets are sold online. I believe they should be on the Evergreen Park Community High School website.
Yes. Okay, good. So I'm guessing that this is going to be something that's a fun performance. Am I getting this right? I mean, if you got references from other plays, you've got two brothers. I'm sure there's a little bit of comedy in it, arguing and things like that. I would imagine this is a fun, raucous performance, right? Fun, raucous performance?
Yes.
All right, good. I'm going to hold you to it, okay? Good luck this weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, we're going to need it.
Yeah, one last tiny disclaimer.
Oh.
Be cautious about bringing children to the performance.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's a bit...
Language? Is it language or risque? What would you say?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Well, thank you so much for coming by, guys.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Break a leg.
Thank you so much.
It's the EP Podcast. All things Evergreen Park. It's the EP Podcast. Evergreen Park.